Welcome to the Trainer Talk, where we discuss topics related to health and fitness to help you gain back control of your health and fitness and become the absolute best version of yourself physically and mentally. Enjoy. In this episode of the Trainer Talk, we talk about personal development and some different ideas and things that we do to develop our skills as a person or improve our health and our fitness. We as humans should never stop wanting to get better and develop, because if we're not growing, we're shrinking. If we're not getting better, we're getting worse. If we're not moving forward, we're moving backwards. So we try to give you guys some ideas to develop as a person, both mentally and physically. We hope you enjoy the episode. Like, a lot of people don't focus on it after school.
Yeah. They focus on, they go to practices, they study, they do all this stuff to keep getting better and keep growing for a certain goal. They have goals in high school or in college. It's like college is to get the degree, but then once they have their jobs outside of college, outside of graduating, they're like, okay, well, now what is it? Do I just wait to die?
Yeah.
And that's what I think a lot of people do. They have 50 years of just they're just kind of going through the motions in their life, and then they get to the end of it and they look back and they're like, there's so many things that I should have enjoyed or I should have done. I think that's a big thing, that they regret the things that they didn't do rather than the things that they tried and failed.
Yeah. And I feel like right after college is when people start to kind of go downhill, around 30s, as soon as you hit 30, you start to kind of go downhill if you're not developing or trying to get better. If you don't have those goals set, something to work for.
Yeah.
So with that being said, what are some of the things that you guys do for personal development to continue moving forward instead of moving backward, or to continue getting, stronger instead of weaker, things like that?
Yeah. For me, we're probably gonna have a lot of the same, honestly.
I think we're all gonna have the same general outline, but I would like to kind of share what we do for each of those kind of categories a little bit, and provide some insights for people that maybe could start making improvements.
Mm-hmm. Well, first off, exercise is probably the most prominent one right now in my life. For me, I'm constantly trying different types of exercise, getting out of my comfort zone with running. CrossFit was probably the biggest one yet. Starting that was something really new for me. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I watch a lot of YouTube videos and read books, which you said earlier you do too, right? Yeah. I'm trying to think of some of the ones I listen to. I listen to Andrew Huberman a lot. He's a really good source for just modern science. He has a lot of top of their field guests on his, so that would be one I recommend listening to.
What are some examples of what he talks about? Is it human performance, nutrition, exercise, or kind of all of the above? Just kind of...
Yeah, honestly, everything. Exercise and nutrition is just a small portion of what he talks about. But he had a good series with Dr. Andy Galpin, right? Yeah. About strength training, exercise, endurance supplements, things like that. And it was a 3 or 4 part series, which was super cool. Mm-hmm. He does a lot. He's a what's his title? He's a
neuroscience. He's a researcher with Stanford University and professor.
Yeah.
So he does a lot of learning, memory retention, sleep. He does a lot of
mental,
he'll do different general health and
eye health.
Yeah, just different, a very wide range of things.
Yeah.
And has the different experts come in on that.
Yeah.
And then I think that it's a very encompassing as far as overall health, well-being, longevity, mental health. So it's not just health and fitness, which is probably a lot of what we do listen to or learn about, but it's overall quality of life, health, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Other than that, I would say I try and challenge myself intellectually, mentally sometimes, whether it's reading, right now I'm reading a book by Peter Attia, Outlive, which is a little bit more, it's not like it's a pretty high reading level. So it's a lot of like medical terms, a lot of things that I'm not familiar with. So it's a little harder to read for me. And I think that is one way that I've recently been challenging myself in that way. I would say surrounding myself with other people that are smarter than me, or, people that know a lot about the things that I want to learn about, like you guys. That's one way I'm trying to do a lot of personal growth, learning from you guys. That's about I think right now, but I'm sure I'll come up with more.
To kind of tangent on that, like that's one thing that I kind of realized with having like specialists come in and stuff like that, of learning like, oh, it's actually way faster to learn from an expert or someone who's like way better than you than it is to try and learn it on your own. And like if you say that, and we say that about health and fitness, and it's just kind of like known for us, but then like learning from Jen Rocksterman, and then like just coming in and different things like that, like learning like, oh, they see things way faster, and like learning from them, we actually learn so much faster, and it's like almost like a high speed learning habits and different knowledge and different things like that, versus trying to learn it on our own and implement that. So I like that you kind of brought that up, of just being around those kinds of people. That really helps. But for me, like personally, obviously exercise is one of them, but trying to do different, harder things instead of just the things that you're comfortable with, like weightlifting, very comfortable with that kind of stuff, but then doing things like running and gymnastics that I'm not comfortable with or that I don't like. And not that I don't like it, it's not a strength for me, and certain weaknesses are exposed, and it's not fun to fail endlessly trying to do a handstand walk, and you're just like, why can't I just do it? Like, I'm strong enough to do it. And it's just like keep going and being okay with like failure is still like, you're still moving in the right direction, because one day it's going to click. Like you might fail 700 times, but that 701st it actually clicks, and then you get it. But just kind of keeping on the process of it, no matter how many times or how many setbacks you have. That's one thing. And like listening to different podcasts, like I like the RP podcasts. I kind of bounce around to all the different podcasts, like Huberman, a couple of them. I usually like go on almost like a binge I find a new person, and then I like listen to all of theirs. And then I like find all the ones that they're guests on, and then listen to all theirs. And so then I just kind of like pick and choose from there. But I do like those. I'm currently reading The Comfort Crisis, which is, he talks about like how our modern lives are so comfortable compared to our ancestors, and how it's ultimately leading to a lot of anxiety and depression because of that. And how we're never like actually alone. We're always stimulated by something, or we're listening to something. And then like watching YouTube videos, stuff like that, to always just, okay, learn different things or get different perspectives from different people, taking the certifications to learn and really like cement that in, and different certifications, like not just taking one personal training or strength training certification, taking multiple because they're going to teach you different things in each of them, instead of just saying, oh, okay, I took one through the ISSA, so now I know everything I need to know. It's okay, now we're going to learn about weightlifting, like Olympic weightlifting. Okay, now we're going to do more specialized like gymnastics and stuff like that, or like specialized different trainings. Same thing with nutrition. It's like you can get a really good base with one, but then start learning the different like specialties, or like someone's going to do something different than the others. And it all like eventually just kind of builds on itself. And then reflecting on what I could do better, and saying like, okay, bring the awareness to any of, okay, where's my weakness? That's what I need to focus on. Or like, what could I be doing differently? And just like taking the time to reflect on that. And that comes with being alone with your thoughts instead of constantly stimulated. And then keeping an open mind about different ways of doing things. Like for nutrition coaching, like when I started, I was like, okay, I just have to give them like the perfect macros and calories, and they'll follow it. I just got to motivate them to follow it, and then they're going to have the success. They're going to lose all the weight, and it's going to be amazing. Most people don't want to track their food, and most people will not stick to that 100% of the time. And you're like, oh, I thought this was like the best way to go about it, right? And it's like not the best way for everybody. And so learning, okay, maybe we just focus on the vegetables first. Like learning different approaches to the same problems, I think is probably one of the biggest things, and keeping an open mind of people are going to do things differently, and like seeing, okay, they do things differently than we do them. Why has it been successful for them? Can we implement that here? And not be afraid to like try that and see how it works for you.
Yeah, for sure. To go back, I think it's really interesting how, and you guys maybe have heard this, like you have clients that are like, oh, I know what I need to do. I just need to do it. Like I know what to do. I just need to do it. And it's funny because the more you learn, I feel like the more you realize you don't know.
Yeah.
There's so many things that I'm not 100% comfortable with. I don't know a ton about. And then you got people that are so far below even where we're at that think that they know exactly what they need to do, to get super fit and eat good and all this stuff. And so that's a big thing about personal development is like the more you learn, the more you realize, okay, I don't know everything. So I think you're right. Like you need to be open-minded and willing to just take in information, analyze it, keep what's valuable and throw away what's not valuable to you. And that is what growth really is. It's how you keep going and moving forward. So just kind of go in what I have down for my personal development, working out, as you guys said. It's a non-negotiable. We did a whole entire podcast on this. It's what are those things that are non-negotiable for you? And, just like work for most people, working out for us there's no difference. There's no difference in waking up and brushing your teeth, taking a shower, at the end of the day. Working out is one of those things that we just do. And it's because it's not just, we want to be fit. It helps build discipline, work ethic. We have more energy. We are in a better mindset. It releases those endorphins to make us feel good, rather than turning to things like social media or sugar or alcohol or drugs that are also things that give you the same feeling,
thing,
but we're chasing it, and it's a positive thing for us. So working out, non-negotiable. Reading, I like reading things that are going to inform me and teach me new things. So if anybody is a reader, just try maybe finding a book about something that you want to learn about or get better at, and something that's informational that's going to help you develop as a person. That's what my recommendation would be, because there are a lot of people that love to read. Why not read something that's going to help you get better as a person or grow? Podcasts. So this is great for anybody, because so many people are like, oh, I would love to be able to do this, but I just don't know how to do it. I would love to learn how to do this. I just don't have the time. Turn on a podcast of something that you want to learn about or something that you want to get better at, and that's all you listen to and from work, wherever you go, instead of the radio. Everybody turns on the radio or hooks up their phone to their car and plays music. Switch it to a podcast or an Audible and learn something from that so that you can get better. If you got a 20-minute drive to work or a 30-minute drive to work, that's an hour a day. I'm pretty sure in 1 month you can learn everything you need to know about hydration or about fats, proteins, carbs, macro, whatever.
Just
from a drive to and from
work
work in 1 month, you could probably almost be an expert in the carbohydrates fueling your body, something like that.
The hilarious part about that is, like, since I have listened to so many podcasts, because I've had 1 to 2 hours multiple days of the week that I get to listen to them, and like audiobooks and stuff, I've found that no matter where I go or who, like all the experts that I listen to, they all say the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're like, just do the basics. Like you got to get the 80% down. They're like protein, calories, vegetables, yada, yada, yada. And it's just like, okay, so there's no secret to this.
There's no secret, yeah.
So like the more you keep learning and like, okay, yeah, there's little minutia to get like peak performance, but most people like struggle with just getting the basics down. Like what's going to get them 90% of the results. And it's everyone, all the different podcasts, they all have the same conclusion with that. And it's kind of funny.
I'm glad you said that, because people come, like think about everybody watching has tried some kind of fad diet or something. Oh, this is going to be the breakthrough, or this new supplement. This is exactly what I need.
Yep.
When those things are like such a small percentage of success. Like if you just do the basics, like it's super simple stuff. The problem with the simple stuff is it's not exciting.
Yeah, no.
And it doesn't stimulate you. It's the boring work. Do the boring work.
Yeah.
And it's literally just like, okay, eat 3 meals that have protein, carb, and fat that's somewhat healthy, and you're pretty much good to go. Like as long as you're getting enough total calories to fuel your body properly and not in too much of a surplus to put on fat, but not too much in a decrease to like slow your metabolism down and lose muscle, you're pretty much good. Yeah. So it doesn't need to be hard. And that's why, we just laugh when people are like, oh, I'm thinking about trying this specific thing. And it's just like, you need to get the foundation built first. You don't go to school as a kindergartner and learn calculus. Yeah. You need to learn how to add and subtract. And then you go to multiplication and division, and then you progress on a scale. And at the end of the day, the addition and subtraction is 95% of the math that we need to know. We don't really need to know anything else.
Yeah.
Like can you live without knowing calculus? Heck yeah. Like you don't need to know.
Doing it right now.
Exactly. You don't need to know those super specific high level things. Even supplementation is such a small percentage. Like I'm a huge supplement advocate, but that like people think, oh, I need to be taking this fat burner to lose all this weight. Well, that's like a 2% of the equation. It's all the other stuff that really, really matters. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad that you brought that up. I personally, so another thing that I do, and you guys know this, I work with a ton of other gym owners and mentors. Right now I'm doing 5 Zoom calls a week for an hour with other gym owners and other people to help me develop as a gym owner, as a coach, able to help you guys and basically help all of our clients better. So that is a huge thing. I would just say mentorship is such a huge thing for personal development. We all have mentors with the YouTube channels that we watch, the podcasts we listen to, the books that we read, helping each other. We're each other's mentors. And that goes right into surrounding yourself with like-minded people. Like we all 3 of us put that down. If you want to develop as a person, you need to surround yourself with people that are where you want to be or heading in the direction that you want to go. So that's why there's really nothing better than like working out in a group, or finding a workout partner or a couple. Like that's why those people are so much more successful, stick with it longer, they get better results because they're not only holding themselves more accountable, but they're surrounding themselves. So, maybe they're all sharing ideas of recipes or whatever, and, they're able to learn and grow together. That's a big thing. The health and nutrition obviously is a huge one, and supplementation, like that's part of personal development. Like you have to feel your body, be able to have the energy to get through the days and do the work, things like that. I feel like that's a lot of people don't work out because they don't have the energy. So how can we get more energy? Sleep. Eat good, work out, and you're going to have the more energy. Yeah. And just to kind of add on to that, like sleep, since I mentioned it, that's part of my personal development. Like I have a bedtime, I black out my room, white noise, it's at a certain temperature, and I don't let anything kind of disturb that time. And I try to maximize the quality of sleep that I get. If people just did that, their life would skyrocket as far as the quality of life that they live. If they just maximize their sleep alone, because then they're going to wake up feeling way more refreshed. They're going to be more motivated to do things. Maybe they do start working out or eating healthier because they got a good night's sleep. Everybody can relate. If they get a really bad night's sleep, all they want to do, lay on the couch and watch Netflix. Like I just told you guys, I did that like a couple Sundays ago. I got a terrible, night's sleep, was out the night before, did nothing, watched 2 movies, ate a bunch of junk, like felt like crap because I just didn't prioritize my health that day or that, one night. So another big thing is I like to try to get outside. That's what I've been really focusing on more this summer, like going out and going golfing, like doing some other things to just provide some more fulfillment and enjoyment getting outside in nature is very, very good for us as our health, our mind. And I think it helps us with personal development. I think that's why camping is so popular. It's not, like just getting out in nature. Like why would we get excited about leaving our nice, comfortable home with air conditioning and heat and all the things that we need to go and sit out in the woods? Why do people get excited about it? It's because it makes us feel freaking awesome being out in nature and get fresh air and sunshine and stuff like that. And getting back to like our roots as people, like you mentioned, we live in such a comfortable society now, and we have more anxiety, more depression, and things like that. Whereas way back, hundreds or thousands of years ago, we didn't have those things, but we were actually happier people. We had to work for everything that we had, and we weren't surrounded with all these stimulants. Like we're constantly stimulated with our phones and TV and work and things like that. And I think that since we live in a world like this today, personal development is that much more important. So
finding those things to like push the boundaries, like make you uncomfortable. And I think that that's one thing, like obviously, through high school, through college, it's really good to do, but just your whole life, you should be focusing on trying to get a little bit better. And like the people that are the most successful, the people that have the best relationships are the ones that they're grateful for what they currently have, but they also know that they can continually improve, continually get better. And that's like the best athletes. Even like Michael Jordan, he was the absolutely best basketball player of that era and probably of this time too. Don't want to get a whole heated debate going on that one, but he was always like the hardest worker there. And he was always pushing other people. Like, we have to work harder. Like, he's the one, like he's the best. Like he could, but he's not going to stop trying to get better.
Yeah. So I like that you brought that up too, because I actually, I'm not a huge like basketball fan. I was when I was little, but I really admire Michael Jordan because of his mindset. His mindset was unlike anybody else. And if you listen to the people that played against him, they were scared of him because of how just confident he was. He knew he was the best out there, and he would put that fear of God right into whoever he played. And they like to compare like him to LeBron and stuff like that. And the thing is if you put Michael Jordan in today's era, back then he was smoking cigars, drinking beer after games. He ate pizza before like the playoff game against the Jazz. That's when he got food poisoning, and he still played and they won. But like people don't do that anymore. Like nutrition's come a long way, training's come a long way, recovery's come a long way. Like if you put Michael Jordan in today's game, he's going to be like, okay, what are all these other guys doing? I'm going to do it better. I'm going to be doing the ice baths, the training, the recovery, the sleep, the nutrition, all that stuff. He's going to be even a better Michael Jordan than he was then. So
that's why Frazier was so good. Because he
focused on all the little things to develop as a person outside of just that one area. And a lot of people only focus. What's the only thing that they're focusing on? Their job or their family. Family, job. Well, how do you get better at your job and being a better spouse, father, mother, whatever? Work on yourself. Develop as a person.
Because then you have more of yourself. Like you're a better version of yourself because you spent time improving yourself, and then you can be better at your work, and you could probably get more promotions or get paid more or get a better job. And then you could, like, that translates into your family. Like you're able to have better relationships because you're like, oh, like I was doing all these things. You start to like notice things about yourself of like, oh, I wasn't doing this. Like I should be doing this better. And then it just kind of ripples out through everything. Because then if you have better relationships, then you're more able to work on yourself. You're free to work on yourself. You put more into your work to drive towards that. So it all just kind of like comes full circle. Once you start to improve yourself, it just branches out like that.
100%.
It's another snowball effect.
And it kind of like, it makes me think of the last episode that we did when we talked about like giving the power to other people. Like we tend to make all these excuses and stuff because we're not developing ourselves and our mindset and our bodies on a daily basis. So we're just continuing to kind of go downhill. And I feel like it's way easier to just point that finger blame at everything as to why you're not where you would like to be, or as happy, or as fit, or as energetic, whatever it is. It's because you're not working on yourself. And so you have more room to just point the finger, and you have more excuses. And that's what I've started to notice. So I was talking with you guys before this, like people walk in with all these excuses, and I have no tolerance for that because I've worked on myself for so long and developed my mindset that I don't believe in any excuse for whatever you want to do. There's endless amounts of free information on the internet. You can literally learn more on a single YouTube channel than you can with 12 years of school and a 4-year college degree. And people will say that, like, they've learned more about business, more about fitness, whatever it is, than going to school for 16 years. Like, there is information out there. It's free. People can access it. It's just having the discipline of taking that first step of actually committing to putting in the work of learning. So
I think it also, so like people come in with, excuses or whatever. I think it's, they have these belief systems ingrained in them since they were young through their parents or through society of like, hey, like once you hit 30, your health's going to deteriorate, or once you, get into a marriage, it's just going to be comfortable, and then you're like going to have problems and all these different things. Or once you have kids, oh, there goes, your
all
fitness
your time,
and your
your
body,
freedom.
and like you got this work, oh, well, you got this really high functioning like job, like you have a lot of time that you have to dedicate to your job, well, there goes your family time. Like there's people, they don't see the potential unless they see someone else doing it. So like once they see, oh, there's like a high powered CEO and he works out and he eats right and he's fit and has a good relationship and like all these different things, they're like, oh, I didn't know that was possible, right? So it's shattering those beliefs that people are already coming in with. And that's what people probably don't realize about us, is that it's more about us shattering their beliefs of what they can and can't do. Because they think, oh, I'm a mom and I've done all this and I've had 3 kids, so my body's not going to work how it should or look how I want it to, or it's just going to be hard for me to lose weight. And it's like, no, we have all these examples of mothers, people who are nurses and work night shift. I mean, they make it work and they make results. And it's like they are able to get these results by doing these things. And it's like, it's possible for you to do it. We just have to figure out what's going to work best for you. Taking that time to like work on your mindset kind of change your whole identity, like we've talked about before. And then like it is very possible to get all those things, and people come in not thinking that's possible.
Yeah, because they've known nothing different than that.
Exactly.
They've known nothing different than, once you have kids that you don't have any more time, but in fact you do. Like you can make that work. It just takes time and discipline and hard work. I think that's a good thing about having a lot of, it's good and bad, having social media influencers. There's good and bad things about it, but I think one of the good things is breaking those beliefs that, you don't have time. Like last year I started reading this book called, it was by Cameron Haynes. I can't remember what it's called, but it was by Cameron.
Endure.
Endure. Yep. So he's a bow hunter. He works a 9-to-5 job, and he's an ultra marathon runner. So he worked at just like this water treatment plant in his hometown, whatever, ran a marathon every day, like raced with Lance Armstrong. And then he was this like world-renowned bow hunter that, gets an elk every year when most people get one every 10 years. So that was like the first person to me that broke that belief of like, this guy's like, where's your free time? He doesn't care. Like he gets it done. He knows what his goals, knows what he has to do, and he takes time out of his day to make sure he gets it done. So
And the thing with that is like, you use the word like free time. For him, his free time is the running. It is the bow hunting. Like his work, like, he's got to work his 40 hours a week or whatever, but then like his free time is spent doing those things that help to like fill his cup. Like that's what he thinks that's free time for him. And like, that's how we would want to spend it, instead of like, people think of free time as like leisure time. And I think free time is like time to work on yourself or do what's going to make you better or feel better. And like sometimes when you're absolutely exhausted from having fun the day before, like you need to have that free time to just sit on the couch, recover, and then that way you can like crush it the next time. But it shouldn't be an all the time sort of thing.
100%. And it's funny because like I feel like as a nation, the 40-hour work week, outside of that, we can't do anything. Like I feel like people don't actually understand what hard work really feels like. And I can't even say that I don't even know what hard work really feels like, even though I feel like I do quite a bit. Like, if I might be invested in my work 50 or 60 hours a week between all the learning and the actual work that we do. And there are people that are doing double of what I'm doing. So it's like, how do I get to that level instead of just saying, oh, I work 50 hours a week, I can't do anything else. I don't have time, or I don't have the energy to do anything else on top of that. When there's people out there working 40 hours plus running a marathon every day.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Like in I think it's seeking, like what you said, like influencers of people that are proving what's possible.
Yeah.
Breaking those beliefs is and that's what we're trying to do. We like to say that we will believe in you until you believe in yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what it really comes down to, is showing people what's possible. But it starts with this. It starts with starting to implement things that are going to make you better and develop as a person. So maybe to wrap this up, we could just kind of give the audience what are some things that they could start doing right now to develop as a person. Obviously, we already said most of it. If it were me, I would say to start, instead of making huge time commitments to make changes, try to just switch it or stack it. So if you're already driving to work, switch from the radio to a podcast that's going to give you information on health or fitness or mindset, anything that's going to teach you something to get better. That way you can at least start learning it. You could also, start prioritizing things such as, like if you want to start exercising, plan it and schedule it. Put it into your calendar when and where you're going to do it. Maybe start setting yourself up for a good night's sleep. So maybe it's planning a bedtime, wake time, blacking out your room, things like that. Just basically start finding things that you can just take a little bit of time to get better. So if it's going for a walk, reading a book, listening to a podcast, getting in a walk, getting outside, anything like that, like start small and then start stacking on top of that.
Yeah, I would say spend 20 minutes. Either if you can't do it by yourself, do it with someone that you want to grow a relationship with, whether it's your significant other, your kids, something like that. But 20 minutes, no screens, no stimulation whatsoever. Like, you either sit there and be super present with yourself, or go for a walk in nature with no music, no nothing. Like, just walk, and you're going to have like the most creative thoughts. You're going to be, because they talk about, you go inside yourself to actually like entertain your brain, because your brain doesn't stop. And by removing all those distractions, you can actually go inside and be very introspective, and you can almost like find out so much about yourself in just 20 minutes of being by yourself to your thoughts. And that's why people in the shower have such good, thoughts, or they're super creative in the shower. And that's having that time and that space daily, whether it's a walk, whether it's like you're sitting there meditating, you're just hanging out or something. Like, find something that you can almost spend that time alone with yourself, figure out, like, either if that's kind of a lot, like a big step for you, do it with, your spouse or something like that, and just be present with them. Just getting away from the screens would be huge.
I would say seeking discomfort. And what I mean by that is, like, when you find yourself faced with uncomfortable situations, maybe with something you've never tried before, or a situation you've never been in, it's most likely, if most of the time, it's going to be a situation where if you do dive into it, you're going to grow from it, you're going to learn from it. And so realizing that, okay, like, this is kind of out of my comfort zone a little bit, but I'm going to embrace it, and I'm going to keep moving through it, because I know when I get through this obstacle or uncomfortable situation, I'm going to be a better person because of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So just to give a real life example, the first time you did one of these was probably a little uncomfortable for you. You didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it maybe was a little nerve wracking. You didn't know what to say, etc. Now we're probably 12 to 15 weeks you've been doing this with us.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier probably. And you probably
100%.
have developed. You have a lot of great things to tell the audience,
Yeah.
a lot of good ideas. It's probably a little bit more comfortable for you.
Yeah. I've gotten more comfortable, talking in front of a camera or just sitting down and talking to you guys in general.
Yep.
About topics that sometimes I might not know everything about, but I still put in the knowledge that I have.
Yes.
So.
And that's kind of the goal with this whole thing is like, we don't know everything, but we are trying to get better every day. We're trying to develop and bring whatever knowledge we learn to the audience. That's kind of the goal with this whole podcast / YouTube channel, is to try to help people gain new ideas and learn more about anything that they can improve their health with, or their fitness with, or just their life with, really.
Yeah.
Because that's our whole goal here at TH Fitness, is to help people live a healthier and happier lifestyle. Right?
Yep.
Thanks again for tuning in to the Trainer Talk. If you are ready to gain back control of your health and fitness, we would love to sit down and chat with you to see if we can put together a plan for you. All you have to do is head to TaylorHutchinsonFitness.net and book a free consult. Again, make sure you like and subscribe if you like the video, and hopefully we'll see you soon.